Hello and welcome to Energy Insights. Today's our energy story is related to Cheniere's LNG updates. Cheniere's new LNG milestone and why this matter for the global gas market. The world's largest LNG exporter has just crossed another major milestone, and this is the story of our today's episode. Dear audience, U.S. energy giant Cheniere Energy has received a regulatory approval to introduce the natural gas into the final liquefaction train of its Corpus Christi Stage 3 expansion project in Texas. It may sound like a routine engineering step, but for the global LNG industry, this marks the beginning of the project's final commissioning phase before commercial operations. So why this is important? How much new LNG entered the market through the development of this train? And what could this mean for the LNG prices, particularly the Asian buyers and developing countries? So let's break it down. What happened? The U.S. Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, has authorized Cheniere Energy to introduce natural gas into a Train 7, the final liquefaction train under the Corpus Christi Stage 3 expansion project in South Texas. This approval allows the company to begin commissioning activities using the natural gas, a critical step before producing LNG and entering a full commercial service. Introducing natural gas into the newly constructed LNG train is a major milestone because it enables operators to test compressors, pipelines, refrigeration system, and safety equipment under real operating conditions. Think of it as a final dress rehearsal before commercial production begins. Once testing is completed successfully, the train can run and start producing LNG for export. Understanding the Corpus Christi Stage 3, that's very important. Corpus Christi is already one of the world's largest LNG export terminal. The Stage 3 expansion is designed to significantly increase the facility export capacity through several new mid-scale liquefaction trains. Train 7 is the final unit in this expansion, meaning the project is approaching full completion after years of construction and billions of dollars investment. Once fully operational, Stage 3 is expected to add roughly 10 million ton per annum of LNG production capacity, strengthening the Cheniere's position as the largest LNG exporter in the United States. So why this matters globally? This is very important to know. Every new LNG export facility changes the global balance between the supply and demand. More export capacity generally means more LNG cargoes entering international markets, greater supply for the European and Asian countries, increased competition among the LNG suppliers, and better long-term energy security for importing countries. So this expansion is particularly important because global LNG demand continues to rise. Asian economies continue to expand in gas-fired power generation, while Europe remains dependent on LNG imports to diversify supplies after reducing pipeline gas imports from Russia. Additional US LNG capacity helps meet the growing demand and improves the market flexibility. Impact on the LNG prices would be what? Will this immediately lower the energy prices? The answer is probably not. Commissioning takes time and commercial exports begin gradually rather than overnight. However, over the medium term, additional US supply generally puts downward pressure on global LNG prices by increasing the available volumes and reducing supply tightness. That said, price will still depend on many other factors, including geopolitical tensions, shipping disruptions, weather conditions, Asian demand, European gas storage levels. So the recent supply disruption involving Qatar have shown how quickly the market can tighten even when new export projects are progressing elsewhere. So what it means for developing countries and other Asian LNG importers. For LNG importing countries like the developing countries in South Asia and other East Asia developed economies, every additional source of LNG supply is welcome. Greater US export capacity means more potential spot cargo availability, increased competition among the suppliers, and better opportunities for long-term LNG contracts. Improved diversification away from the dependence on a limited number of exporting countries. Although one project alone will not transform the global prices and the market dynamics. Every new LNG train contributes to a major liquid and competitive international market. So this covers our today's episode, and now we are coming to the closing lines, which means that the Cheniere approval to introduce natural gas into the final train of Corpus Christi Stage 3 is much more than its regulatory milestone. It signals that another major wave of US LNG export is nearing reality. As new export capacity comes online, the global LNG markets will continue evolving, creating new opportunities and new competition for producers and buyers alike. For countries seeking reliable LNG supplies, this development is worth watching closely. So this concludes our today episode. And if you have enjoyed this analysis, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates on the global energy markets, LNG, and international energy policy. Thanks for watching Energy Updates. And we will see you in the very next episode of Energy Insights.